Well, hi there. I'm Colin Lamb, aka the Tone Wizard, and I hope you're doing very well wherever you may happen to be today. I'm doing well myself. Thank you for asking. I don't do a lot of gear reviews on my channel, but today I'm going to be doing a gear review for the RME Babyface Pro FS. Now, I've had this thing for I think just over a year, and I've been using it to make all of the content on my channel. It handles all of the audio, and spoiler alert, I'm very happy with it. Now, the reason for making this video is because I have, as I say, over a year's worth of experience with the device, and I think that my thoughts and opinions on it might be useful for somebody who's looking to purchase the device for themselves. Now, why, oh why, did I buy this expensive piece of German-engineered audio technology? Well, I didn't buy it to unbox it and use it to review itself on YouTube, that's for certain. I bought it to make my YouTube videos, and I'm using it right now to make the video you're watching, and I've been using it to make all my content for the last year since I've had it. Now, what attracted me to it was that I was told and led to believe that I could use it to route a bunch of different audio sources, mix them, and pump them all into one channel in OBS, and not have to do any mixing in OBS, and basically have it ready to go. Plug it in, turn it on, and have everything pre-mixed and put into one stereo channel on OBS. So there'd be less fiddling around. Because in my opinion, OBS is a little bit limited in terms of the audio mixing, and once you get so many channels going and so many filters going, it gets very confusing. So I was hoping that the RME, with the software that we'll talk about a little later, the TotalMix software, would help solve that problem. Okay, so let's take a look at this bad boy with my very primitive hand cam setup that I've got going on. The top of it is made from a lightweight but very thick and durable feeling steel. It's very heavy, so I always think of something when it's of quality like that that's got a weight. I always think of Jurassic Park when the lawyer asks the kid about the night vision goggles. Are they heavy? And he says yes, and they say then they're expensive, put them down. This beautiful device would definitely fall into that category. Underneath you've got some hard plastic, which also feels very durable. There's an optical out here and a little MIDI guy there. It comes with some MIDI cables as well, but it also comes with this very cool right angled connector, which I actually do want to talk about in a little bit, but that's good if you've got a bunch of stuff on your desk like I do. Around the side we've got the 2/4 inch inputs, and we've got 2 headphone inputs. I've got mine running with a 1/4 inch adapter, even though there's a small one right beside it. Around the back we've got the XLRs, one of which I'm using right now, and the inputs and the outputs, so you can run beefy monitors off of this guy as well. The button controls I'm not really going to get into because this isn't a tutorial, but right now I'm using it to control the output, and that's the headphone mix that I'm hearing. So I have no volume now, but you can still hear it because we're going to talk about some of the routing capabilities a little bit later. There's a dim switch and all that. Very nice piece of equipment, and it comes with this carrying box and some MIDI cables, and it also comes with a DC power outlet as well, because you can actually plug this thing into an iPad and I believe an iPhone, and you can actually have the TotalMix software, which again we're going to talk about in a sec, running and controlling the audio on there if you want to stream out of a device like that. I don't personally do it, and I don't think it works on Android devices as well, but very, very, very cool. Now let's talk about the TotalMix proprietary software that comes with the RME products, not only the Babyface Pro, but other ones as well. This piece of software was the original reason why I bought the device, because it controls a number of audio sources and routes them down. So again, this is not a tutorial video, but just to give you some example of what I'm doing here, what you are hearing is on this channel here, which I've called Restream because I was originally using it for Restream, but I also use it in OBS. So on this channel, we have the microphone, right? So if I select this channel, I can mix the microphone volume into this channel that's being output to OBS, if that makes sense to you. If I want to have some audio from YouTube, which I happen to have queued up, market anyways, you'll hear that. It's still something to be excited, but the better news is that that's audio from one of my other YouTube videos, but you could see that coming through, and I'll just play it again. You can go and see either of those bands, which I think are going to be both touring separate. In my computer, I have the desktop audio routed to phones 3 and 4 in the RME Babyface software. I have everything mixed onto the third and fourth channel as well, and that's what's making my headphone mix. And I'm sorry if this is confusing to you, but I just have to say that once you figure out this software, it changes everything. Because literally, if you want to picture this as a mixing board, if you've ever used a mixing board before, you'll know that you have all of your channels, and then there's a place where they go into the main mix, and so the faders are all controlling what you hear on the main mix. I'm here, I am mansplaining what a mixing board is, but basically this is what makes this device so well. Aside from the fact that it's beautiful and it works like a charm, like from a hardware perspective, the software is fantastic. The other thing I want to talk about is that you could use this in a Zoom meeting or in a Twitch setting. So I think there's certain streaming platforms that have cracked down on people sharing live music. So they're listening to something while they're playing, but that's a copyright infringement, and Twitch blocks the video. So in Twitch or even in Zoom, like let's say you were in a Zoom meeting, you could have your microphone right here. Let's get this going here. You could have your microphone on channel 1 rooted to the Restream, which is rooted to Zoom. Okay, but you could have your Spotify rooted to number 3 and 4, but in Restream, you could have the volume turned down so that it wasn't coming out. If that makes sense to you. It's very versatile to be able to do all this stuff. And again, this isn't a tutorial. I'll be very honest with you. I've had this thing for over a year. I have it set up and ready to go and do what I need it to do. But it is a bit complicated to use, but we'll talk about that later in the cons. But I think it's very interesting. Now, you can also set the TotalMix software to a DAW only mode. So basically, you're not going to use the TotalMix software. You're just going to use it as a straight DAW. And this is useful if you're using a DAW program like Pro Tools or whatever you may happen to be using, and you just want this thing to be an interface because you're going to be routing and controlling audio within that software. But TotalMix for me is a revelation. And if there was a version of this software which could be used to control and route other devices, I would be all for that as well. So let's look at the pros of the RME Babyface Pro FS. Pro number 1 would be that it's very well made, very well constructed. I think even if you dropped something on the top on the plastic screen, I think the LEDs are underneath. It might crack, but it'd be okay. The buttons look pretty solid, and the rest of it is metal, and it's fine. I think you could drop this thing. I don't want to try it, but if you did it by accident, I'd feel reasonably confident, as long as it was kind of a controlled fumble, that it would be okay. If you pour a bunch of water on it, I don't know what would happen. I don't intend to do that. If I spill a beer on it, I think it could take it. I look at this guy and I think, yeah, he could take a couple of brews, as long as they were glancing, kind of spilling, and you get it turned off right away and turn it upside down. I think it would be fine, but very well made, I would say. The audio quality, everything coming in sounds great to me. So the audio quality and the processing quality sounds great. The main pro of this device would be the proprietary RME TotalMix software and the ability and control that it gives you to route multiple sources of audio, mix them, and pump them out in one channel to wherever you need it, whether that would be a Twitch stream using OBS like I'm using right now, streaming live to YouTube, or any number of applications. Very good. Very happy with the performance and the capabilities of this device and the construction. It's great. So let's talk about some of the cons of the RME Babyface Pro FS, because there are a few cons in my opinion. The main con is that it's very fucking expensive. This thing cost me about $1,200 Canadian, which I think is about $900 US, give or take the conversion rate. But if you're in America, you can just search it up and see how much it is. So it's very expensive. But I did quite a bit of research before I bought this thing. I watched the videos from the company itself. I watched a couple of other videos, and they were mostly positive. The other thing is that I bought it from a place called Long and McQuaid in Canada. It's a place where I've been buying music gear from for years. They have a very good return policy. They have a very lenient attitude in general with musicians who are their main customer base, and they're a great company to deal with as a third-party seller, or a second-party seller, whatever it would be. I trusted buying something this expensive off them that they were going to take care of me if anything went wrong. And also, I've heard that the customer service from RME is very good as well. But this was a huge leap from the interfaces that I'd been using before. I think my first interface was a $40 Steinberg, which still works very well with no latency. It's a great piece of equipment. And then I had a PreSonus 8-track interface that I would use for music recording. And I do want to say that I don't use this device for music recording, but in the couple of times that I have used it as a DAW, it has performed quite fine. There's been a little bit of a latency issue that I've had, but I think has since resolved itself because I was exporting the DAW audio using a plugin into OBS. So I think that created a little bit of latency, but I think that when I've been done a little bit of tracking in the DAW that I use, it's performed well. But again, I don't use it in that setting. If I was going to do a bunch of tracking, I'd probably use my PreSonus interface because it has 8 inputs. The second major con about this thing would be the learning curve in this program right here that it comes with, which is the TotalMix software. And until you get your head around this software, you're going to have a rough time with the device, and there is a learning curve. There are good videos available from the company, but I found them a bit dry. The guy who does the presenting is kind of funny, but he's very dry and more technical. There's other videos from guys out there. And if this video gets to 1,000 views and enough people request it, I might make a tutorial on basic routing. But let me know in the comments if you want to see that, because I might do that if I have time. But yeah, this software is difficult to use, but once you master it, the ability that it gives you to control all the audio far outweighs, in my opinion, the negativity of the learning curve and the cost. So yeah, I think the pros outweigh the cons, people. So my conclusion about this wonderful device. At the top of the video, I did mention that I've had it for a year and I'm very happy with it. So that would ultimately be my conclusion. I would totally recommend this device to somebody who was looking to do what I do, which is stream content occasionally and make videos in OBS for YouTube. It greatly streamlines editing. I don't have to do any post audio editing whatsoever. And I'll say it again, the TotalMix software gives you an excellent level of control over all your audio routing needs and mixes it all for you. So yeah, very happy, would totally recommend. If you're looking for one and you're thinking about getting one and you can afford one without leveraging your financial situation too heavily, go out and buy it, man. Leave right now. Stop the video. Go get it right now. I'm not being paid by RME, by the way, but hey, I'm here. Take it easy. Enjoy your life. Goodbye.